Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast. Today is Friday, August 30th, 2019. A lot to get to today. Last night's college football results, baseball, tennis, week 4 NFL preseason. My fantasy draft was last night, and I'll reveal the 8 teams out and the people in my league. And you can tell me who you think has the best team. And then we're going to do overreactions from yesterday in college football and make picks for the rest of the weekend in college football and obviously my best bet. Okay, we're going to start with the results from last night in college football. There are not many surprises, but a few, and then there are some that were games that I thought would be closer than anticipated or more lopsided than I anticipated. So without further ado, here we go. Cincinnati defeats UCLA 24-14. I was correct on my pick. I said that Cincinnati would win and cover. Cincinnati's 1-0. UCLA's 0-1. The starting quarterback for the Bearcats was Desmond Ridder, 18-26, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 8-for-26, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. UConn over Wagner, 24-21. This was a close call. I got my pick here correct. I said that this would be an under. UConn 1-0, maybe their only win of the year. Wagner 0-1. The starting quarterback for UConn was Mike Budery, 14-21, 158 yards, and an interception. And he threw a pick 6. And the quarterback for Wagner was Christian Alexander Stevens, 12-for-23, 82 yards. Bowling Green over Morgan State, 46-3. I was a half point off here with my pick. I said that it'd be an over, but it was an under. So actually 1 point rather than a half point. Half point from the Vegas total of 49.5. Bowling Green 1-0, Morgan State 0-1. Darius Wade, 22-32, 253 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the quarterback for Morgan State did absolutely nothing. DJ Golat, 3-for-9, 24 yards. They ran the ball a lot throughout this game. Buffalo over Robert Morris, 38-10. Robert Morris covered. I said they would cover. I thought that line was big. Buffalo's 1-0. Robert Morris is 0-1. The quarterback for Buffalo, Matt Myers, 5-for-10, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. The quarterback for Robert Morris, George Martin, 7-for-9, 92 yards. So a lot of round and pound running game in that game. UCF over Florida A&M, 62-0. Impressive win for the 17th ranked team in the country. They start the 1-0. Florida A&M 0-1. Brandon Wimbush was great. 12-23, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't even have to do much. That they actually went with their backups in the second half. And the quarterback that produced the most for Florida A&M, Ryan Stanley, 7-for-24, 52 yards. Central Arkansas over Western Kentucky, 35-28. Every year you see an FCS beat an FBS. This was it. Central Arkansas is 1-0. Western Kentucky is 0-1. The quarterback for this game for Central Arkansas, who came back and won the game, Braylon Smith, 20 of 28, 324 yards and 3 touchdowns. The quarterback for Western Kentucky, Stephen Duncan, 26 of 39, 340 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Charlotte over Gardner-Webb, 49-28. I thought this was an under game, but Charlotte ends up putting up points, and so does Gardner-Webb, and it goes over. Charlotte's 1-0, Gardner-Webb 0-1. Chris Reynolds, 14 of 20, 136 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. The quarterback for Gardner-Webb was Jordan Smith, 6 for 17 for 60 yards. So there's a lot of running game in that as well. Clemson over Georgia Tech, 52-14. A rousing win for Clemson to start the year, 1-0 in the year. Georgia Tech 0-1. Trevor Lawrence, 13 of 23, 368 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He didn't have to be great in this one. Travis Etienne was the best player on the field, though. 12 carries, 205 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That guy is so special as a playmaker for the Tigers. And James Graham from Georgia Tech, 4 for 7, 72 yards. They did a lot of running in this game as well. Tulane over Florida International, 42-14. I said on this very podcast that Tulane laying the short number was an absolute steal, and it proved to be, and I really, really did not expect this to be that much of a blowout. Tulane's 1-0, FIU 0-1. Justin McMillan, 14 of 18, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the quarterback for FIU, James Morgan, 19 of 34, 208 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. UAB over Alabama State, 24-19. A narrow win for UAB, who starts 1-0, Alabama State 0-1. Tyler Johnson III, 8 of 19, 114 yards, and a touchdown. And starting for Alabama State was Kadaris Davis, 18 of 31, 112 yards, that's 2 touchdowns and a pick. Texas A&M over Texas State, 41-7. The 12th ranked team in the country gets off to a good start over Texas State. I was wrong about this. I said that this would be an over game, but it was an under. But Texas A&M gets the victory at home, took care of business as they should. They're 1-0. Texas State's 0-1. Kellen Mond, 19 of 27, 194 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Starting at quarterback for Texas State was Gresh Jensen, 20 of 31, 160 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. So they got their late score very late in garbage time with less than a minute to go in the game. Central Michigan over Albany, 38-21. I had the over for this game, and the over hit. Central Michigan 1-0, Albany 0-1. Quinton Dormady, 27 of 37, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns. And starting for Albany was Jeff Kuffler, I should say. 15 of 28, 199 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Minnesota over South Dakota State, 28-21. South Dakota State had the lead in the fourth quarter of this game. A critical fumble. Minnesota gets the ball, and they take over, and they get the late score to put themselves on top. And they get a much-needed Week 1 opening week win. Minnesota's 1-0. South Dakota State 0-1. The quarterback for Minnesota, Tanner Morgan, 13 of 18, 176 yards, a touchdown, the pick. The quarterback for South Dakota State, Jabor Gibbs, 13 of 26, 193 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. So South Dakota State might be one of the better teams in the FCS this season. Arizona State over Kent State, 30-7. I had the over in this game. I was wrong. Arizona State 1-0, Kent State 0-1. The true freshman quarterback, Jaden Daniels, 15 of 24, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Woody Barrett, the starting quarterback for Kent State, 9 of 16, 83 yards, and a touchdown. San Jose State over Northern Colorado, 35-18. San Jose State covers. I did not think they would because their team is just atrocious. They're 1-0. Northern Colorado is 0-1. Starting at quarterback for San Jose State, Josh Love. 21 of 31, 224 yards and 2 touchdowns. The quarterback for Northern Colorado, Jacob Knipp. 26 of 44, 177 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Utah over BYU, 30-12. I liked the under and Utah in this game, and both those things hit. Utah 1-0, BYU 0-1. Tyler Huntley, 13 of 16, 106 yards. Zach Wilson, 21 of 33, 208 yards, and 2 interceptions. We'll get to the games that are going on today and tomorrow a little later on in the podcast. Baseball. Going to go over yesterday's games, look ahead to today's games. Indians over the Tigers 2-0. Much needed win for Cleveland. 79-55. Detroit's 39-92. Mike Clevenger to win. Daniel Norris to loss. Brad Hand to save. Clevenger 8 innings, 4 hits, no one runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts here, 2.72. He really has put himself, if he wasn't hurt, he'd be in the conversation for the American League Cy Young Award to go with Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole. He's been that good. Daniel Norris, 3 innings, 2 hits, and an earned run, a walk, 4 strikeouts, ERA 4.66. A's over the Royals 9-8. Oakland is 77-56. Casey is 47-88. Use Mario Petit to win. George Sparkman the loss. Liam Hendricks to save. Bassett 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and a strikeout, ERA 3.67. Sparkman 4 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, a walk, and a strikeout, ERA 5.86. Twins over the White Sox 10-5. Minnesota is 82-51. Chicago 60-73. Jose Barrios to win. Dylan Cease the loss. And getting the save for Minnesota was Randy Dobnik. Jose Barrios 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, ERA 3.57. Cease 2 innings, 10 hits, 8 runs, and walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 6.92. Rays over to Astros 9-8. A big win for Tampa Bay, much needed win for Tampa Bay. 77-58 in the year. Houston 87-48. Jose De Leon with the win. Chris Davinsky the loss. Emilio Pagan the save. Andrew Kitteridge was the opener in this game. An inning and a third, 2 hits, and a run, a walk, and a strikeout, ERA 4.46. Zach Greinke, not good. 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 8 strikeouts, ERA 3.45. Cubs over the Mets 4-1. The Cubs are 72-61. Mets 67-66. John Lester to win. Jacob deGrom to loss. Craig Kimbrell to save. So the Cubs get the sweep. John Lester had a good start. His first good start in a while. 6 innings, 5 hits, and a run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, ERA 4.36. DeGrom 7 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, ERA 2.66. Reds over the Marlins. Other way around. Marlins over the Reds 4-3 in 12 innings on a walk-off homer by Harold Ramirez. Miami 48-85. Cincinnati 63-70. Getting the win for the Marlins, Tyler Kinley. Raciel Iglesias the loss. Starting for the Marlins this game was Robert Duggar. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, ERA 4.5. He was pretty good. Alex Wood 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, ERA 5.8. Mariners over the Rangers 5-3. Seattle is 57-78. Texas 65-70. Matt McGill the win. Jose Leclerc the loss. Felix Hernandez started 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, and walked, 3 strikeouts, ERA 6.02. He wasn't bad. Lance Lynn 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, ERA 3.77. Pirates over the Rockies 11-8. Pittsburgh 57-77, Colorado 59-76. Trevor Williams the win, Chichi Gonzalez the loss, Felipe Vasquez the save. Trevor Williams 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts, ERA 5.26. Chichi Gonzalez 2/3 of an inning, 7 hits, 7 runs, a walk, and no strikeouts, ERA 8.07. Diamondbacks over the Dodgers 11-5. The Diamondbacks are 68-66, LA 88-48. Matt Andrees the win, Haitian Ryu the loss. Merrill Kelly started 4 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, ERA 4.91. It was Ryu. 4 and 2/3 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs, and walk, 4 strikeouts, ERA 2.35. Yikes. If he has a couple bad starts here in a row, he's not winning the Cy Young, and I'd bet all my money on either Jacob deGrom or somebody else. I don't think it would be Scherzer either because he's missed most of the year, but yikes. Ryu really is turned into a human pitcher. Pirates over the Giants 5-3. The Pirates are 62 and 71. San Francisco 65 and 68. Chris Paddock the win. Derek Rodriguez the loss. And getting the save for the Padres was Andres Munoz. Paddock 7 innings, 5 hits and a run, no walks, 8 strikeouts, ERA 3.69. He looked like the Chris Paddock from earlier in the year. Derek Rodriguez 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 5.49. Today's games at 2:20. You have the Brewers at the Cubs. Chase Anderson and Jose Quintana. 7 o'clock Athletics Yankees from the stadium. Brett Anderson and CC Sabathia. This is the Bob Costas game. I think the Athletics are going to win tonight. CC Sabathia really hasn't been good, and he's washed up at this point of his career. He's retiring at the end of the year, and he's only been good against bad teams this year, or I should say bad offensive teams, and the Oakland Athletics are not a bad offensive team. So giving the A's here on the road, wouldn't be surprised if this one got out of hand early, similar to that Indians game. So I think Oakland wins, maybe like a 7-3 ball game. Although I would not be surprised if the Yankees end up winning this game, because the Yankees have doubted me and many others all year long with their deficiencies in their rotation and the injuries that they have suffered in their lineup this year. And by the way, Luke Voit back tonight for the Yanks. Marlins Nationals. Alicia Hernandez and Anibal Sanchez. Mets Phillies. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. Astros Blue Jays. Wade Miley and Trent Thornton. Astros Blue Jays. Wade Miley and Trent Thornton. Indians Rays. Shane Bieber and Austin Pruitt. Twins Tigers. Kyle Gibson and Edwin Jackson. White Sox Braves at 7:20. Ivan Nova and Max Fried. 8 o'clock Mariners Rangers. Marco Gonzalez and Colby Allard. Orioles Royals. John Means and Eric Skoglund. 8:15 Reds Cardinals. Trevor Bauer and Dakota Hudson. Pirates Rockies. Dario Agrizel and Antonio Senzatala. Dodgers Diamondbacks at 9:40. Tony Gonsolin and Zach Gallen. 10 o'clock Red Sox Angels. Nathan Eovaldi and Jose Suarez. And 10:15 Padres Giants. Madison Bumgarner against Dinelson Lamet. Now I'm going to go over the week 4 of the preseason for the NFL. Less than a week away until we have real NFL football, so that's very exciting. And next week I'm going to have a bunch of guests on to preview the season, just like I did this week with a couple people. Same thing next week. Among next week's guests will likely be my buddy Derek, who has not been on the podcast in a while. Our buddy Russell Baxter, who came on back in April. My friend Carly might pop on. One of the people from my fantasy league might pop on. And we'll get my buddy Doug Saravo on the podcast to do his predictions. Sean Verma. So that's among the big guest list for next week. Hopefully we'll see who we can get. To yesterday's results. Giants over the Patriots 31-29. Daniel Jones started for the Giants, 4 for 4, 47 yards, rating of 115.6. Kyle Aletta, 22 for 40, 247 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jared Stidham played the whole game for New England, 18 of 28, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Bills over the Vikings, 27-23. You did not see anybody important in this game in terms of quarterbacks for the Vikings and the Bills, so no Kirk Cousins and no Josh Allen. Tyree Jackson, 22 of 33, 175 yards and a touchdown. He played the whole game. Kyle Sloter, 16 of 24, 163 yards, a touchdown and the pick. Jake Browning, 8 of 10, 46 yards and an interception. Colts over the Bengals, 13-6. Chad Kelly, 13 of 16, 138 yards and a pick. And getting the start for the Bengals in this one was Jake Dolgala, 27 of 41, 253 yards. Jets over the Eagles, 6-0. You did not see Sam Darnold or Carson Wentz, obviously, in this game. Clayton Thorson played the whole game, 12 of 26, 84 yards and an interception. He was terrible. Davis Webb, 18 of 23, 176 yards and 2 interceptions. Trevor Siemian, 5 for 5, 37 yards. He'll probably be Darnold's backup, you would think. Panthers over the Steelers, 25-19. Starting in this game for the Panthers, Will Grier, 11 of 18, 189 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Taylor Heineke, 7 of 10, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Mason Rudolph, 7-11, 125 yards and a touchdown for Pittsburgh. Falcons over the Jaguars, 31-12. Gardner Minshew, 11 of 26, 79 yards for Jacksonville, and starting and playing the whole game for the Falcons was Danny Etling, 15 of 25, 174 yards and a touchdown. Browns over the Lions, 20-16. Starting in this game for the Browns was Garrett Gilbert, 13 of 24, 117 yards and a touchdown pass. And seeing most time in this Lions game was Josh Johnson, 9 of 15, 157 yards and a touchdown. Ravens over the Redskins, 20-7. Baltimore. Dwayne Haskins got the start for Washington, 10 of 17, 104 yards and a touchdown. Trace McSorley, 15 of 27, 171 yards and a touchdown for Baltimore. Titans over the Bears, 19-15. In this game, Logan Woodside played played the whole game for the Titans, 17 of 29, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. And playing the whole game for the Bears was Tyler Bray, 28 of 40, 334 yards and a touchdown. Buccaneers over the Cowboys, 17-15. Ryan Griffin, 9 of 11, 92 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And Taryn Christian, 11 of 17, 142 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Packers over the Chiefs, 27-20. The Packers, in their preseason finale, started Deshaun Kaiser, 8 of 15, 77 yards, a touchdown, to pick. Kyle Sherman for KC, 14 of 20, 143 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. Dolphins over the Saints, 16-13. Jake Rudock, 22 of 29, 229 yards and a touchdown. Taysom Hill, 13 of 17 and 100 yards. Rams over the Texans, 22-10. Brandon Allen, 12 of 17, 120 yards and 2 picks. Joe Webb, 19 of 29, 163 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. Broncos over the Cardinals, 20-7. Kevin Hogan, 12 of 23, 138 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Derek Anderson, 9 of 16, 118 yards and a touchdown. Chargers over the 49ers, 27-24. Cordell Jones, 10 of 16, 149 yards. C.J. Beathard, 6 of 9, 58 yards and a touchdown. Seahawks over the Raiders, 17-15. Geno Smith, 4 of 7, 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nathan Peterman, 20 of 27, 158 yards. All right. Last night was my fantasy draft. I was going to live stream it and post it on my podcast, but I decided not to because it was going really fast and whatnot. I'm going to go over my own team, and then I'm going to go over the rest of my opponents' teams, and you guys can decide which team is the best. My lineup, my quarterback's Dak Prescott. My running backs are Saquon Barkley and Devontae Freeman. Wide receivers, Julio Jones, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Cooper Kupp. Tight end, Zach Ertz. My flex is Josh Jacobs, the rookie from the Raiders. My defense is the Bills. My kicker is Justin Tucker. My bench, Josh Gordon, Phillip Lindsay, Vance McDonald, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Tariq Cohen, Christian Kirk, and my backup quarterback, Russell Wilson. All right. Now I'm going to go over some of my opponents' lineups. My week 1 opponent is one of my close friends, Nikki, who accidentally took Lamar Miller, and she didn't realize he tore his ACL. We had to tell her that in the middle of the draft, so she obviously didn't know that, and she doesn't really follow football. We were just kind of training her a little bit last night. But she has Miller penciled in as a starter, which sucks. Deshaun Watson, which is good. Alvin Kamara, Miller, who we talked about. She'll change that. Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Curtis Samuel, George Kittle, Austin Eckler as her flex. The Vikings defense, and Robbie Gould. Her bench, she has Duke Johnson, who's replacing Miller. Latavius Murray. Phillip Rivers as her backup quarterback. Matt Breida. Tony Pollard, who might get the start next Sunday against the Giants. Jameis Winston. And Andrews from the Ravens. So that's her bench. My buddy Sean's team, who is in charge of the league. Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, James Conner, Julian Edelman, Robert Woods, Emmanuel Sanders, Travis Kelce, Damian Williams, the Denver defense and special teams, and Will Lutz. His bench, Melvin Gordon, who might not play this year. A.J. Green, who's hurt. James White, Marvin Jones, Tevin Coleman, Kirk Cousins as his backup quarterback, and Delaney Walker. And he's playing up against my girlfriend Tracy, who wants to come on the podcast, so that'll probably be my pick, as we'll probably go through these fantasy lineups and whose teams we like, and just go through our own NFL season predictions ourselves. And she couldn't make it, or really couldn't be there physically, and really, as we were doing it on our phones on the app, because she lives far away and she had to work and she couldn't be on her phone while at work. So she had to be auto-drafted, and she has a pretty solid team. Cam Newton, Ezekiel Elliott, who may not play week 1, David Johnson, Devontae Adams, Brandon Cooks, Stephon Diggs, O.J. Howard, Joe Mixon, the Jaguars defense and special teams, Steven Gostkowski, and her bench is Kenny Golladay, T.Y. Hilton, Tyler Boyd, Sterling Shepard, Marlon Mack, Sony Michel, and Darius Geis. My friend Danielle's team, you're going to laugh because she made a big mistake in here. She wanted to take DeAndre Hopkins, but she ends up drafting the kicker, Dustin Hopkins of the Redskins. So that was a big oops by her by searching up last name, but she really should have went by position, not really by last name. But this is her team. Patrick Mahomes, Kerryon Johnson, Derrick Henry, Tyler Lockett, Sammy Watkins, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, Chris Carson, the Chiefs defense and special teams, Jake Elliott as her kicker. She has Dustin Hopkins as her bench kicker. She will probably drop him. Matt Ryan as her backup quarterback, not bad. David Njoku of the Browns, Dante Pettis of the Niners, Larry Fitzgerald, Peyton Barber, and John Brown. And my friend Dominic is playing Danielle in week 1. Drew Brees, Le'Veon Bell, David Montgomery, Kyle Allen, Amari Cooper. You have DJ Moore of the Panthers, Austin Hooper of the Falcons, Aaron Jones of the Packers as his flex, the Rams defense, and Harrison Butker of the Chiefs. And his bench, Allen Robinson, LaShawn McCoy, Rashad Penny, Jared Goff as his backup quarterback, Jamison Crowder, Jack Doyle, and the Houston Texans defense. And the last matchup is my two friends Josh and Tony. Josh's team, Mitch Trubisky, Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette, Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham Jr., Adam Thielen, TJ Hockenson, Mike Williams, Chargers defense and special teams, and Mike Bagley, the kicker of the Chargers. His bench, Kenyon Drake, Hunter Henry, Ben Roethlisberger, the Bears defense, D.D. Westbrook, James Washington, and Michael Gallup. My friend Tony's team, Aaron Rodgers, Todd Gurley, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Chris Goodwin, Jared Cook, Mark Ingram, the Saints defense, and Greg Zuerlein. His bench, Alshon Jeffrey, Jarvis Landry, Carson Wentz is his backup quarterback, Robbie Anderson, Miles Sanders, Will Fuller, and Trey Burton. All right, I went through the teams, and you let me know who you feel has the best team. Now I'm going to go over some overreactions through last night's college football Week 1 games, so this is going to be a fun exercise to do. I'm going to go through every game and say an overreaction, whether I think it's going to be true or false in the end when we look back on the season. So I'm going to do this now, and we're going to look back on these at the end of November. Maybe November 30th. I don't even know what day of the week that is. I think that's a Friday or a Saturday this year. All right. So the first overreaction, UCLA. Has college football coaching passed on Chip Kelly? Has it passed him by? I'm going to say no. It's hard to rebuild in college. You can't really do what Jim Harbaugh did right away and be good right away like he was at Michigan. A lot of people thought that Michigan wasn't going to be good right away with Jim Harbaugh. And they were a contender right away. I know they haven't made the playoff or anything, but they've made a couple New Year's Six Bowls with Harbaugh. We're just relevant right away. So it takes a while for programs to rebuild. And he'll get this recruiting trail right. I think it's going to be a while. I still think there's a chance UCLA makes a bowl game this year if they pick off some teams in their conference. So they still have a chance to make a bowl game and salvage their season, but I'm not going to overreact to this week and say that college football has passed Chip Kelly by. UConn. Will they win a game the rest of the year? I'm going to say no. Because they nearly and should have lost to Wagner, so I think that explains how bad UConn is. Bowling Green, Morgan State. Could Bowling Green surprise this year and win more than 3 games? I'm going to say no. I think they got lucky with their FCS opponent. Buffalo, Robert Morris. Is Buffalo worse than I anticipated? I think Buffalo is going to take a step back from last year, and I did say that Robert Morris would cover this game and Buffalo would just take it easy. I still think this is a 7-5 football team, and I can see a world where they go worse than that, but I don't think it will be the case. Brandon Wimbush is the right quarterback for UCF. He looked very good against Florida A&M. Granted, Florida A&M is a FCS school, so I'm going to say that Wimbush, I think UCF goes as far as Wimbush takes them. And so far, it's off to a good start. And I think he's the right guy for now. Will Western Kentucky go 0-4 on the year? I'm going to say no. There's some bad teams in CUSA that I think that Western Kentucky could pick off, like a UTEP or a UTSA or a Rice or even Charlotte if they got Charlotte on the right day. And my question for Charlotte is, are they going to surprise us again and make an improvement? I'm going to say that the rest of their schedule going forward is tough, so I don't see them getting more than 4 wins. Is Trevor Lawrence human? He threw 2 interceptions in that game against Georgia Tech. And I'm still sticking with my pick that he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. It was just one game. They threw 2 picks in a game where they didn't need him to be good. He's still the best quarterback in the country, the best player in the country. So I'm going to say no. That Trevor Lawrence won't win the Heisman. I'm going to say he still does. And I'm going to say that he's human, but there's going to be some games this year that he doesn't look human. Could Tulane be a sleeper in the AAC? I'm going to say yes. Do I think they'll win 8 games? No. I think they'll win more like 6. But they really showed me a lot in their big win over Butch Davis and FIU. UAB, are they a worse team than I projected them to be? They might be. UAB has a good coach and some talented players, but they nearly lost to Alabama State. So I think they are a worse team than I predicted them to be. Texas A&M and Texas State. The Aggies obviously looked ready to go. And do I think that they'll overcome some of their tougher games and potentially reach 8 or more wins? I'm going to say no. They have not swept the Mississippi schools since before Johnny Manziel left. They have Alabama, they have Clemson, and they have Georgia, and they have LSU on their schedule, so I'm still going to say no. But they looked pretty good last night. Albany and Central Michigan. Can Central Michigan surprise some folks this year, win more than 3 games? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that they just caught the right FCS school in Albany. And I do think Central Michigan will be a team that can score points against Swiss cheese defenses, but I think that they will win less than 40 games. Is Minnesota a worse team than I thought? I'm going to say no. I think South Dakota State's actually one of the better FCS schools. They're going to be right up there with North Dakota State and James Madison among the best FCS schools. So I'm going to say that South Dakota State's a better team than we thought, rather than Minnesota is a worse team than we thought. I think Minnesota's going to learn from this, and they'll get better as the weeks go on. Arizona State. Is freshman quarterback Jaden Daniels the real deal? I'm going to say he is. I really liked what I saw from him in this game, and I think he'll show a lot of people in this conference that he could be the future guy, and that guy could be competing for Heisman's potentially if Herm Edwards picks the right people around him in future recruiting and whatnot. And we'll see how this year goes first, obviously. But I think that guy could potentially be a Heisman candidate down the road. That guy really is going to be good, I think. San Jose State. Are they better than we even thought? I thought that they had a chance to lose last night. I thought that was the best chance of a FCS over FBS upset yesterday, but they obviously pulled out the win. And the other one I thought had a chance of happening was Wagner and UConn. So San Jose State survives. They're actually a better team than we thought. I'm going to say that they caught the right FCS school and they don't win a game for the rest of the year. It's similar to UConn, except UConn nearly lost its game. San Jose State won this game pretty comfortably. So San Jose State might actually be a better team than UConn. I'll say that as a little overreaction. And the last sort of overreaction, Utah. I get it. It was a tough atmosphere, and they needed a big second half to really pull away and win. but they were a few breaks away from potentially losing this game. Like, if BYU didn't turn the ball over so much, maybe BYU could have stolen this game. So my question for Utah is not a negative one, it's more of a positive one. Is their defense a top 5 in the country? There's a lot of good defenses in college football. Obviously, the Georgia defense is very good. You have a lot of other good defenses. So I'm going to say yes, and especially with Alabama losing their stud linebacker for the year with the knee injury. I don't think anybody in the Big 12 has a good defense, really. Michigan State, I think, is a good defensive team. I think Ohio State and Michigan are good defensively. But Utah has some studs on the defensive end, and that's going to help them win ball games down the road this season. Now I'm going to do my picks for the rest of week 1 for the season. So, without further ado, here we go. First up, tonight, 7 o'clock, ESPN, you have Wisconsin and South Florida. This is going to be a very fun game. Some folks think the Bulls have a chance to steal this game. I don't think that, and I feel the Badgers are poised to get off to a good start, led by Jonathan Taylor. So I'm taking Wisconsin straight up. My play here is the -11. Very contrarian of me, and I think that they win this game by 2 touchdowns. So give me Wisconsin, although I think South Florida will give them a game, at least through the first half. 6 o'clock, CBS Sports Network, Rice and Army. I'm taking Army to win straight up, and I'm taking them to cover the 23 points. I think Army's poised to have a big season. Rice is one of the worst teams in the country, so I really am big on Army this year, and I think they have a chance to finish the season with 1 loss if things break right. 7 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, Tulsa at number 18, Michigan State. I'm taking the Spartans to win this game straight up. They're favored by 23.5. The over-under is 48. This is a tough call for me. I'm going to say Tulsa covers. I don't feel good about it, but I could see this being a 30-10 Spartans win or a 33-14 Spartans win or something like that. I think they barely cover, and the Spartans will kind of peek ahead a little bit. I'm not suggesting that they're going to look bad or anything. I could just see them being backdoored here. So give me Tulsa plus 23.5 to get the backdoor cover late in this game. Next up is Utah State at Wake Forest, 8 o'clock on the new ACC network. There, folks, I think the Aggies will pull off the upset with their quarterback Jordan Love, but I don't see it. The Demon Deacons are a team that I think can surprise folks in the ACC this season, and I like them to get the win here. So the pick is Wake Forest. They're laying 4.5, and I think that's an absolute steal. UMass at Rutgers, 7:15 on the Big Ten Network. This game is going to be horrific. And I mean horrific. These are 2 of the 10 worst teams in the country. Rutgers is obviously the worst team in the Power 5, and I don't think it's close. It used to be Kansas. Oregon State was sort of in that conversation too. But I really think that the Scarlet Knights are now the worst team in the Power 5. Rutgers is favored by a whopping 16.5, and I think that is too many points. So I'm taking UMass against the spread, but Rutgers will win this game by, let's say, 9 points. I can see this being like a 30-22 type of game. So I'd suggest the under 2, but give me UMass plus the 16.5. I think that is the much, much better play here. Next up is Purdue at Nevada, 9:30 on the CBS Sports Network. Here's another interesting game. The Wolfpack are a team that people like for a week 1 upset, being at home. But I don't think they can get enough stops with the Boilermakers' high-powered offense. So the pick here is Purdue. Purdue's laying 11. The over-under is 58.5. Give me the over. I think there's going to be a lot of points here. I think Purdue can put up 35, and I think Nevada can put up maybe like 20-something. Maybe 27. 35-27 would mean Nevada covers and it goes over. So I'm going to take the over. I feel better about the over than I do about Nevada covering because I think there's a chance that's a push. Colorado State at Colorado. Colorado is favored by 13.5. This game will be played in Denver as it is every year. I don't expect either of these teams to make bowl games, but the Buffaloes are the choice here to get off to a good start. So give me Colorado here. They're laying 13.5. The over-under is 56. I think the Buffaloes win and cover. I think they win this game by 20. Oklahoma State at Oregon State, 10:30 on Fox Sports 1. There are folks that like the Beavers to pull off a week 1 upset possibly, but I don't see it. The Beavers defense is Swiss cheese, and I like the Cowboys to roll here. So give me Oklahoma State here. They're laying 14, the over, and they're 72. I like the over. Both these teams are allergic to defense, and I could see a world where Oklahoma State wins 48 to 40. So Oregon State, in theory, would cover. I could see Oregon State backdooring them, but I feel better about the over than I do about Oregon State backdooring them. All right, Saturday games. 12 o'clock on Fox, FAU at number 5, Ohio State. I'm going to say that Ohio State wins. They're favored by 27.5. The over-under 64.5. I like the over here because I think that Lane Kiffin's team is going to put up some points, and I obviously think that Justin Fields and Ohio State are going to put up some points. I can see this being like a 50-20 game. So there's your over. South Alabama at Nebraska, 12 o'clock, ESPN. Nebraska is obviously number 24 in the country. Expectations are high for that team. They're favored by 36.5 in the spot. The over-under 66.5. This is tough. I'm going to take the over as my play here. Nebraska's obviously going to win this game, but I like the over here. I think that Adrian Martinez is going to light up the scoreboard. I'm not big on him as a Heisman candidate because I don't think Nebraska is going to win enough games. But I think that he'll really light the lamp up against a bad South Alabama defense. East Carolina at NC State, 12 o'clock on the ACC network. This game is somewhat interesting. The Pirates will keep this competitive, but the Wolfpack will win it. So the pick here is NC State. They're laying 17.5. The over-under is 54.5. I'm taking East Carolina and the points to keep it close. I could see this being like a 35-24 type of game. Akron at Illinois, 12 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. The pick is Illinois. They're laying 18. The over-under 61. I'm going to be a little contrarian-y here, but I'm going to take Akron the 18. I have a feeling Akron backdoors them. And I think it's like a 35-20 game. I think it's close, or not close, but the score will be closer than it really is. I'm going to say it's like 35-13, and then Akron backdoors them within the last minute and a half of the game. And then they take a couple of knees, and Illinois gets the win. But Akron covers. Indiana at Ball State, 12 o'clock CBS Sports Network. This game will be played in Indianapolis at the Lucas Oil Stadium. I don't see this being that competitive as the Hoosiers are the more superior team, so give me Indiana. They're laying 18, the over-under 60, and I think Indiana wins and covers the 18. Toledo at Kentucky, 12 o'clock on the SEC Network. Toledo is getting 11.5. The over-under 61.5. I'm taking Kentucky to win this game. Obviously, they're the better team. This is a little tough. I think Toledo can keep this competitive. So I'm going to say Toledo covers the 11.5 here. But obviously Kentucky wins. Mississippi State and Louisiana Lafayette, 12 o'clock on ESPNU. This game will be played in New Orleans in the Superdome. The Raging Cajuns are a team that is somewhat competitive with the big dogs and spots like this. And I can see them hanging around here, but the Bulldogs will pull away here because they're the better team. So the pick here is Mississippi State. They're laying 19 points. The over-under 60. Tough call here. I'm going to say the over because I think Mississippi State is just going to keep scoring on them. I think they can get to 40, and I think that ULL can get to like 23 or something like that. So there's your over. Ole Miss and Memphis, 12 o'clock, ABC. This game will have a bunch of points scored in it for sure. The Rebels made good coordinator hires, but I don't see it paying off right away as the Tigers, led by Brady White, get the home win. So the pick here is Memphis. The over-under is 65. Memphis is laying 4.5. I like the over here. Like I said, this is going to be an all-offense game. I think Ole Miss will score with Memphis, but I think Memphis will win. I like the over here, but Memphis will win the football game. Northern Iowa at Iowa State, 12 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Iowa State's laying 18.5. The over-under is 41.5. I love the Cyclones here. They're the better team, and I think they're going to cover 18.5 easily. I think they win this by 30. They're so good. Indiana State at Kansas, 12 o'clock on the Jayhawks Network. Indiana State's getting 5. The over-under is 53.5. Every year, an FCS team upsets an FBS team. This is the choice for that, as the Sycamores will spoil Les Miles' Jayhawks debut. So the pick here is Indiana State. I'll take them here on the money line at plus 180. But the play here is going to be the plus 5. And I think Indiana State wins the game outright. Howard at Maryland. Maryland's favored by 29.5. The over-under 65.5. I'm taking Maryland at home in the debut for Josh Jackson and their new coach. And they like them to cover the 29.5 as well. 12 o'clock on ESPN News. Boise State at Florida State. This game got moved to Tallahassee due to the prospect of Hurricane Dorian. My pick doesn't change with the game being moved as well as the time. I like Cam Akers lead the Seminoles to a win. So the pick here is Florida State. They're laying 6.5. The line went up because the game's now in Tallahassee rather than Jacksonville. The over-under is 52.5. I'm going to pick the over because I think there's a chance that Boise covers. Boise's not a bad team. So I'm going to take the over here, but Florida State wins. 2 o'clock on the Root Sports Network in Pittsburgh. James Madison in West Virginia. This is a spot folks like for an FCS over FBS upset, but the Mountaineers aren't as bad as people think. I think they win this in Neil Brown's debut, although the Dukes will be competitive with a chance to steal the game as well. So give me West Virginia. The line jumped from 7 to 7.5. The over-under is 52.5. I'm not sold on the Mountaineers cover, but I do like the over 52.5. I think both teams can score. I think James Madison will be competitive throughout. But the half point makes the James Madison play, the plus 7.5, enticing, but I like the over better. I could see the Mountaineers winning a 45-38 type of ball game or a 40-33 type of ball game. So, give me the West Virginia Mountaineers. Oh, the line's moving even more because they just took it off the board. So, give me the Mountaineers to win straight up. But the play here is over 52.5. Rhode Island and Ohio, 2 o'clock ESPN Plus. I'm taking Ohio here to win the game and to cover the 22.5 points. The over-under is 66.5. Eastern Washington at number 13. Washington, 3 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. Give me Washington to win the game. They're favored by 21. The over-under is 54.5, and they'll cover the 21 easily. 3:30 on ESPN. You have South Carolina and North Carolina from Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium. The Tar Heels bring back Mac Brown to be their head coach. And his first season of his second tenure, I don't think, will get off to a great start. And I like the Gamecocks here to get an important win. So give me South Carolina here. I wrote North Carolina in the picks by mistake. I have to change that to South Carolina. I think the Gamecocks win. They're favored by 11.5. The over-under is 63.5. Tough one for me. I like the under. I think that the Gamecocks will get some stops. And they'll win this game let's say 30-27 or something like that. Georgia State at Tennessee, 3:30 ESPNU. Tennessee's favored by 26 points. The over-under is 57.5. Tennessee's winning this game, but I'm going to take the over here. I think that their offense will score a lot. Georgia State's a Swiss cheese defense. And I think Tennessee can get the 40. And I think Georgia State could get the 20. So there's your over. East Tennessee State at Appalachian State, 3:30 ESPN+. I like Appalachian State here. They're favored by 32.5. The over-under is 51.5. They'll cover the 32.5. Eastern Michigan at Coastal Carolina at 3:30 on ESPN+. Coastal Carolina is a 6-point dog. The over-under is 53.5. I'm taking Coastal Carolina to win this game outright as a 6-point underdog. So Coastal Carolina +6, and that's my moneyline pick of the week, brought to you by DraftKings. Alabama at Duke, 3:30 ABC from Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. The Tide have dealt with injuries lately, most notably to linebacker Dylan Moses suffering the season-ending knee injury. That said, they're still miles better than the Blue Devils, and the Tide should roll to a win. So give me Alabama here. They're favored by 32.5. The over-under is 56.5. I'm going to take the over. I really like the over here because I think Duke can put up some points with the absence of Moses there, and probably those points will be in garbage time. I think Tua Tagovailoa will play well, and I think this could be like a 40-20 type of ball game. Colgate and Air Force. Air Force is favored by 19.5. The over-under is 43.5. I like Air Force to win and cover. Idaho at Penn State. Penn State's favored by 39.5. The over-under is 58.5. Give me Penn State to win and cover. Holy Cross at Navy. Navy's favored by 21.5. The over-under is 53.5. I like Navy to win and the cover. Northwestern Stanford, 4 o'clock on Fox. Stanford's 25 in the country. Everyone knows Pat Fitzgerald's success as an underdog, and now he has a 5-star quarterback in Hunter Johnson. My issue is that the Cardinals are a team that feels flat out better, led by quarterback KJ Costello, and I like them to get the win here. So give me Stanford here. They're laying 6.5. I'll take that. The over-under is 47.5. So Stanford wins and covers. Virginia Tech at Boston College, 4 o'clock on the ACC Network. This is a seismic game for this early in the season between these two conference foes. Steve Adazio is coaching for his job this season. He has a good offense, and I believe A.J. Dillon will lead the way to a Week 1 win. So give me Boston College here to win outright. They're plus 155 on the money line. They're getting 4.5. The over-under is 58. So give me Boston College plus 4.5. Montana State at Texas Tech. Texas Tech's laying 25. The over-under is 60. Give me Texas Tech here to win. But give me the over 60. That's going to be my play for this game. 6 o'clock, Syracuse at Liberty. Syracuse laying 19. The over-under 68. Give me Syracuse to win and give me the over 68. There's going to be a lot of points in this game. Sam Houston State at New Mexico at 6 o'clock. New Mexico's favored by 9. The over-under is 62.5. Give me New Mexico minus the 9. Campbell and Troy at 6 o'clock. Troy's favored by 35.5. I don't see an over-under here. I'm going to see if it's on the other chart. And the over-under in the Troy game is 48.5. So give me Troy here to win and cover. I feel better about Troy covering than I do about the over-under because I think there's a chance they win like 40-0. Incarnate Word, UTSA. UTSA is favored by 6.5. The over-under is 58.5. Give me UTSA here to win. And I like the under. UC Davis at California at 6:30. Cal's favored by 13. The over-under is 48. Give me Cal to win. And give me the under 48. VMI at Marshall. Marshall's favored by 39. The over-under is 60.5. Give me Marshall to win. But I like the over 60.5. SMU Arkansas State. Arkansas State's favored by 2.5. The over-under is 56.5. I like SMU to win the game outright, so give me SMU plus 2.5, and the money line is plus 112. Illinois State at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois favored by 5.5. The over-under is 42.5. Give me Northern Illinois to win and cover. 7 o'clock Saturday night as well. Norfolk State against Old Dominion. Old Dominion favored by 27. The over-under is 55.5. Give me Old Dominion to win, but Norfolk State to cover the 27. Nicholls State at Kansas State. Kansas State's favored by 23.5. The over-under is 47.5. Give me Kansas State to win. Nicholls State to cover. Alcorn State at Southern Miss. Southern Miss is favored by 26. The over-under is 55. Give me Southern Miss to win and cover. Stephen F. Austin at Baylor. Baylor's favored by 38. The over-under is 57.5. Give me Baylor to win and the cover. Big one, 7:30, ABC. Auburn, Oregon, from Jerry World. Game day from Fort Worth. Prior to this game, obviously at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. This should be an interesting game with Justin Herbert returning for his senior season for the Ducks and the Tigers rolling with freshman quarterback Bo Nix. The Tigers' defense is very good, and I think they are more capable of getting big stops than the Ducks. So give me the Auburn Tigers to win this game. They're a 4-point favorite. The over-under is 56. I want to take Auburn to win and the cover. The spread. Middle Tennessee at Michigan. Michigan's favorite 35. The over-under is 54.5. Give me Michigan here to win, and I like the over 54.5. Miami of Ohio against Iowa. Iowa's favored by 22. The over-under is 46.5. I like Iowa to win and cover. Georgia Southern at LSU. LSU's favored by 27. The over-under is 53. Give me LSU to win, but I like the under 53. I think LSU can win this game like a 40-7, like Texas A&M did the other day. Georgia Vanderbilt. Georgia's favored by 21. The over-under is 57.5. Give me Georgia to win, but give me the over 57.5. I like Georgia to put up a lot of points here, and I think Vandy can put up some garbage points late to push the over. Mizzou at Wyoming. Mizzou's favored by 18. The over-under is 54.5. I'm going to say that Missouri wins, but Wyoming covers the 18. Virginia at Pitt. Virginia's favored by 3. The over-under is 46.5. I like Pitt to win this game outright. They're getting 3. So Pitt wins, and I like the +3. Abilene Christian against North Texas. North Texas is favored by 20.5. The over-under is 58.5. Giving North Texas to win and the cover. Louisiana Tech at Texas on the Longhorn Network. Texas is favored by 20.5. The over-under is 55. Give me Texas to win, but I like the over. Grambling State against UL Monroe. UL Monroe is favored by 28.5. The over-under is 58.5. Give me UL Monroe to win and the cover. Houston Baptist at UTEP. UTEP is favored by 17.5. The over-under is 61.5. I think UTEP wins, but Houston Baptist covers. 9 o'clock, Weber State, San Diego State. San Diego State's favored by only 8.5. The over-under is 36.5. I like San Diego State to win and the cover. 10 o'clock, New Mexico State at Washington State. Washington State's favored by 31. The over-under is 64.5. I think Washington State wins and covers. New Mexico State's just garbage. Southern Utah at UNLV. UNLV's favored by 24. The over-under is 70.5. I like UNLV to win and the cover. 10:30, the last game of Saturday night on ESPN. Fresno State at USC. This is an interesting game. The Bulldogs are coming off a great season, but they've lost a ton of pieces from last year's squad. The Trojans are under immense pressure this season with Coach Clay Helton coaching for his job week by week. I think the Trojans survive this one at home, so give me USC. But Fresno State, I think, will cover the 13.5. The over-under is 52.5. So Fresno covers the point spread, but USC wins. Houston, Oklahoma, 7:30 ABC on Sunday night. Oklahoma's number 4 in the country. This would be an offensive extravaganza between these two squads. Jalen Hurts is a player with a lot to prove this season after transferring from Alabama, and I think the Sooners will come out on top in Dana Holgerson's debut with the Cougars, and they'll spoil it. So give me Oklahoma. They're favored by 23. The over-under is 80. I like the over. That's my play. Monday night, 8 o'clock, ESPN, number 9 Notre Dame at Louisville. Louisville is an 18-point dog. The over-under is 54.5. A few years ago, this game would have been outstanding. Now, not so much. The Cardinals are rebuilding and have a new coach in Scott Satterfield, and this will be a rude awakening in his debut with Ian Book and the Fighting Irish coming to town. So give me Notre Dame here to win, but my play here is over 54.5, and I think Notre Dame might do it by themselves. I think they could put up 50, and I think Louisville can put up like 10, 15. So that will get the over easily. So give me Notre Dame here, and I absolutely love the over 54.5. Best bet of the day brought to you by DraftKings. Army, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Tulsa, what am I saying? Wake Forest, Purdue, Colorado, and Oklahoma State. I think this is so easy. Plus 266, putting up $5, payout of $18.32. That's it for the podcast today. I know I went long. On Monday, we'll recap all the college football scores from the weekend and do a little bit of overreactions there. baseball, tennis, and more. Hope you guys have a great weekend, everybody.